going to do it again myself, and let's just keep that chat up and running to the side of me. I'll put the chat back to where I need it to be, and then we'll just see where we get to from there, which is a little bit disappointing. I'm a bit gutted for that. So Trent Alexander-Arnold makes a couple of key passes during the game. And I thought he was really good. What I find really interesting about Trent is how he's ended up in this sort of inside right position here quite a lot, and it looks like he's sort of pseudo centre mid at times, and what that's able to do is mean Salah's able to push out a little bit wider and Trent's getting to create from here, and the knock-on effect of that, I think, for this game is that we actually only saw 6 crosses from Trent Alexander-Arnold. He completed 3 of them, if you're interested, and that's because he's not so wide and not with just one option. He's able to play a little bit more inside, and I'm really sort of liking that at the moment. Bottismo is in the chat now. If we're going to try and open it up for Fabinho in a minute, let me just finish talking about Trent and then we'll open it up for Fabinho. So yeah, for Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think it was an okay performance. I think a 7 out of 10 is where I'm at with that, and I could see a lot of people were saying that as well. So let's try and open up the vote next for Ozan Kabak, I believe was the next one in line for us, who obviously stays on that left-hand side of the centre-half partnership. So what you need to do for Kabak is type in !vote space something. It is working! Yes! It's finally working. I thought Kabak had a brilliant game, to be honest with you, and I think, again, nothing that he did wrong during the conceding of the couple of goals. I think, for me, I think what we can see is, no, he's not the fastest, but I don't care. He's a good player and he reads the game really well and he uses his strength really well. There's a couple of times when they were running in behind and he does well to recover. There was one where, you know, it was there was a couple of Almiron, is it? Someone and somebody else get through and Kabak walks away with it. And time again, Kabak had an important part to play in Liverpool not conceding goals. So for me, I thought he was sound, to be perfectly honest with you. I think he deserves a bit of a high mark. I have him down as an 8 out of 10, potentially a 9 out of 10, a high 8, a strong 8, if you will. But we'll end the poll vote there, and we'll see what he gets. And he does, in fact, get an 8 out of 10, which is absolutely superb. We'll open up the poll next, then, for his centre-back partnership, the midfielder, the DM extraordinaire, Fabinho. So Fabinho, I don't think he was personally quite as good as Ozan Kabak in this game. I don't think he was supposed to be, if that makes sense. I don't think they were attacking Fabinho in quite the same way as they were maybe trying to exploit Ozan Kabak. But with his naturally aggressive sort of, him taking over the Phillips role, I think he was the aggressor of the two, which meant that Kabak was the coverer, which meant that we saw a little bit more of Kabak, because Newcastle were looking to hit those balls over the top, and that's where it exposed Kabak, and Kabak stood up really well for it. I think it was a decent performance from Fabinho, but nothing amazing. 4 clearances. The goal does deflect in off him, which is obviously a little bit unlucky, of course. But he was okay. And I think Liverpool defended really well, actually, until 90th minute, 89th minute, whatever, when we just dropped far too deep. When you drop deep, it's difficult to get out. And then those types of things where deflections become an issue and stuff like that. So we'll end the poll now for Fabinho. Let's see what he gets before we open up for Andy Robertson. Fabinho gets a 7. That's exactly what I'd said as well. Andy Robertson, the lad who started every Premier League game for us this season, and in danger of tiring, if you will, but I don't think we saw that from Andy today. I thought we saw a willingness to get forward at every single opportunity, and I thought he did really well in that sense. And, you know, I think with Trent not being quite as wide, it forced Andy to provide that width, because Mane's going to cut inside, and when Mane does cut inside, Trent gets above and beyond, and I think he did that time and time again. I don't think he was outstanding, don't get me wrong, but I do think that he showed that energy that we wanted to see from the left back, from Andy Robertson. And even though he's played so many games this season, I think it's fair to say that he showed that energy and he showed that guile and that enthusiasm to get forwards. So we'll end the vote there for Andy Robertson. I'd be surprised if it was anything other than a 7 out of 10. It is indeed a 7 out of 10. On to the midfielders then. We've got Thiago is the next one. I thought he controlled the game. I really did, and I don't really get, with hindsight, the substitution. I mentioned that maybe Klopp had seen something when he put Kurt onto the left and moved Milner over to that right-hand side, but I think, you know, BT Sport giving the man a match. I don't think we were quite there. I loved that little sort of cushion that Paul described as a foosball pass. I think that was absolutely spot on to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Didn't even talk about that shot for Trent, did I? I thought he was good, though. I thought he had a really, really good game, and, you know, for me, I'm probably going Kabak, Thiago, Firmino and Salah were probably our outstanding players. So I'm interested to see what you're giving Thiago. I imagine it'll be an 8 out of 10. We are going to end the poll right there, and I'm going to be told exactly what he gets. He gets a 9 out of 10, okay. Onto his centre-back partner, Wijnaldum. Now, wow, if he was really good, I'm not sure where Wijnaldum was, because I think he did his role was definitely perfunctory today, and I think, you know, you can see what he does, and I think he's held the ball up well, and he did help to control the game with Thiago, but he probably doesn't have the highlight stuff that maybe Thiago had here. Yeah, I'm surprised that these ratings are all pretty high, considering how bad I feel after that draw against Newcastle, but it was a decent outing. It was a very Wijnaldum performance, and I tend to say that a lot. I'd be surprised if he got higher than a 6 out of 10, if I'm honest. So let's end the vote right then and there, and let's see what Gini Wijnaldum gets, and he gets a 6 out of 10. Okay, I'm tuned into what you guys are doing. Didn't get the Thiago one right, but I did get the Wijnaldum one right. We'll move on then next to Mo Salah. Mo Salah, I think that goal first and foremost, what a fucking finish that one was. The touch to take it back inside, to then swing his body almost 270 degrees, to then time it so well, almost perfectly. On the half volley, smashes it in past the Newcastle goalkeeper, Dubravka, who had absolutely no chance. I mean, what a finish. He should have got another goal, of course, when he's that ball from Bobby Firmino over the top of the defender, straight into Salah's path. He then drives it onto the keeper, doesn't want to take it around the keeper, goes for the early shot. And I kind of understand it watching it back, because the way the defender shaped his body, and obviously was behind Salah at the time, he goes to sort of go behind the goalkeeper. So kind of he maybe thought, well, if I go round the goalkeeper, but he takes the shot early, he should have scored, he should have rounded the keeper, should have had at least 2, maybe 3 goals in this game. There's another chance from poor Newcastle play out from the back. When he gets the ball, I think it's maybe Mane, plays it into him and he goes near side, which he's done a couple of times recently. But you know what, I think he had a good game. I do. But then equally, I'm also going to stand here and tell you that I think that these 4 lads are the reason that we didn't win that game of football. So let's see what Salah gets. Let's end the vote for him now. It's a draw between 7 and 8. Okay, so 7.5 out of 10 for Mo. I think that's a little bit low when Thiago's got a 9 personally, but I'm not going to argue with the wisdom of crowds. Let's open up the poll next for Sadio Mane. He had that big chance, didn't he? That one-on-one where Salah plays the ball across to him. And then all you've got to do, Sadio, hit the ball first time. Don't take a touch. Don't give time to the goalkeeper to get out at your feet. Hit the ball first time. But he didn't take a touch. He did take a touch. He didn't hit it first time. And the reason for that is that he's in poor form. He's in poor form and he's down on his luck and he's down on his confidence at the moment. And it's showing each and every time he takes to the field. Thought that goal against Leeds the other night would have maybe given him a little bit of something to hang his hat on. It didn't. We saw a Sadio Mane performance which isn't good enough and can't be expected for Mo to just drag this side into the top 4 every single week on his own. That's what it feels like. That being said, Mane did some really good work, creates a couple of opportunities, creates one big chance, I think maybe a couple of chances created. But you're judged on goals. When you play in that position opposite Mo Salah, you're judged on goals because he's judged on goals and you're judged on goals and you didn't do well enough today. If it's higher than a 6, I'd be shocked. Let's end the vote there for Sadio Mane, and Sadio Mane does. It's a draw between a 1 and a 5. Okay, I'm going to play the deciding vote then and give him a 5 out of 10 because it wasn't a 1 out of 10 performance. And even then, I think that might be a touch low. But regardless, wisdom of the crowd says, plus my vote, 50 plus 1. I'm the one in this instance. There's been a lot of talk of 50 plus 1. Feels like the right week for me to make a difference on that vote. Opening it next then for Diogo Jotte. Off the boil again today from the start. I say again. But yeah, whose vote is this one? Sorry, is it Diogo? I think I fucked it up I think I fucked it up, didn't I? Sorry, we'll open the vote for Firmino next. And I should have gone Salah, Firmino, Mane, but it's my bad. I went Salah, Mane. Firmino next, apologies. Get your votes in for Firmino now. Use exclamation mark vote space number out of 10 for him. I thought he had a good game. I think, you know, we saw how comfortable he looked in that, and I was really impressed, actually, certainly first half, with just the amount of chances that we had. Obviously, I think it was 22 shots on goal during the entire game. Goalkeeper makes 8 saves. We had 9 shots on target. You know, he's had a good game there, but we should have scored more goals. Firmino was key in creating a lot of those opportunities. He found himself in between, in between the lines of the midfield. and the defence for Newcastle United. Sorry, I've got hay fever and a cough apparently now. So Firmino was finding that space quite well at times, and he was moving it on, and it was good because he had options ahead of him. It wasn't just one man in Salah or another in Mane. He had Diogo there to play it, and I thought we saw at times exactly what he can do in that number 10, and the green shoots were there of spring, as it were, because this four can play together. So let's end the vote now for Bobby Firmino. I thought he had a really good game, and he gets a 5 out of 10. Jesus wept. You're not in a good mood with Bobby Firmino, are you? And Diogo Jotte then will open up the last poll we're going to open up today. I'll do the substitute on me bill tonight. So if you want to vote, look underneath me. It says ! Vote space, number out of 10. And the votes actually are counted now, apparently, after the video is done live. So if you're watching it in the comment section, apparently you can add in. Don't think it makes any difference because the numbers are on the board, but there we go. So Diogo Jotte, poor, I think, is probably one of the right words to describe his performance. And again, it looks like he's picked up his shooting boots from the other front three that weren't scoring goals, as it were, throughout the season. And certainly maybe he's got Firmino's on or Sadio Mane's, not Mo. Don't class him with Mo on there because Mo still does score goals. But yeah, a little bit of a disappointing display from him. I say though, the front four together worked really well, but I do think of the four, I'd rank him the weakest tonight, and that's not good because Mane's there and Firmino's there, but he just didn't have the involvement. I mean, Mane missed chances, but he wasn't as involved in much. He still should have probably had a goal as well, to be honest with you. Let's cut the vote there. What does Diogo Jotte get? And he gets a 5 out of 10, which I think when you consider Bobby and Mane have both been given 5s, that is probably about right. I'm just going to quickly do James Milner, who I think, when he came on, I think we saw more of the same from Liverpool, but it was when Thiago goes off and Kurt Jones come on that Liverpool started to sit back a little bit too deep. I don't think that was Kurt Jones' fault. There was some nice little moves here and there from Kurt Jones on the edge of the area and stuff like that. I think he deserves probably a 6 out of 10. It's a bitterly disappointing result, that though. When you're fighting for top four, when you're in the top four, in the live league standings, and then you drop back down to 6th. Newcastle shouldn't, in my opinion, have got that first goal chalked off, although by the letter of the law, it was the right decision to chalk it off. Not as a football fan, but anyway, when you get that slice of luck, you've got to then take advantage of that slice of luck and turn that slice of luck into 3 points. Liverpool weren't able to do that, and that is a pure lack of confidence. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. That is the player ratings. I'll be back very soon with Paul on the Instant Match Reaction, where we'll dive into it with a little bit more depth and detail. Thanks for watching. Ta-ra.
Thank you so much for watching the Redmen TV YouTube channel. Everything we do here is funded by our wonderful subscribers to the redmentv.com. Get over there, sign up and get amazing additional content, interviews, documentaries, mini-series, and of course additional pre and post match day content.